Legally, I would love to see a precedent set that people don't get treated the way I did, that their faith is respected, that if they have the conviction like I do to not work on the Lord's Day, that would be honored, and that would be written into federal law or whatever law is applicable to honor their beliefs.
A major story here, the Supreme Court is taking up a religious freedom case involving a Pennsylvania postal worker who has refused to work on Sundays due to his religious beliefs. That is Gerald Groff. He's an evangelical Christian mailman who says he was wrongfully discriminated against the United States Postal Service after he refused to deliver Amazon packages on Sundays, which he considers to be the Sabbath, a day of worship and rest where work is prohibited to his religion. At first, he didn't have to work Sundays. But in 2013, USPS contracted with Amazon to deliver packages, and workers had to take those Sunday shifts for weekend deliveries. Now, Groff was allowed to miss his shifts as long as he could find someone to cover for him. He missed more than 24 assigned Sunday shifts, believing he would be fired. Groff ended up resigning. Stephanie Taub is the senior counsel for the First Liberty Institute, representing the postal worker Gerald Groff. Stephanie, thanks so much for coming on. We do appreciate that. A lot to dive into here. I'll start with the lawsuit. Can you tell us a little bit about this, where it's at, and what exactly is at stake here?
Absolutely. So we are asking the Supreme Court to restore religious liberty in the workplace. And this is really an exceptionally important case. It has the potential to protect employees of faith across the country. For too long, courts have favored big government employers and corporations at the expense of religious employees, like Mr. Groff, who simply want to remain faithful to their God or to their religious beliefs. So this is the Supreme Court's opportunity to clarify the law and to make it clear that employers are required to grant reasonable religious accommodations to people of faith.
Many people are watching. They're wondering, again, what could happen, what implications that this may have. I wanted to play this, if we can, to hear more, a little bit more from Gerald Groff on the case, and then I'll get your response. Here's that.
When you're forced into a corner, as I said more than once to my postal managers, I said, if you're going to ask me, I mean no disrespect, but if you're going to ask me to choose between your earthly authority and honoring God, I have to choose God. And to me, I was standing on my convictions of putting God first, and that's really my heart in this whole thing.
And you see it there from his explanation of how passionate he is about his faith. Have you met with Gerald personally? Obviously, have you talked to him on the phone? And could you maybe elaborate on his stance on this and his passion and his love for his faith?
Absolutely. He is so incredibly hardworking and sincere and humble, and really believes passionately in his conviction to honor the Sunday Sabbath. I mean, that's the reason why he joined the post office in the first place, is that they were traditionally closed on Sundays. And he was willing to work extra shifts throughout the week. He was willing to work holidays that weren't on Sunday. And he was willing to offer so many other possible accommodations. But the problem is the post office did not take their obligation to provide meaningful religious accommodations seriously. And Gerald Groff is not alone. So many Americans face similar circumstances where they need a religious accommodation in order to work, in order to provide for their families. But employers are not taking these seriously. And so that's why this case is important. It'll clarify that these legal protections actually are meaningful, actually should be enforced.
We'll definitely be watching that. The Supreme Court hearing that. Stephanie Taub taking up the case for us. Stephanie, thank you so much. Keep us posted on it.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309, or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.